What's happening, folks? Welcome back to the channel. As the starting 11 prediction for the penultimate league game of the season at Pittodrie tomorrow. But first of all, before we get into it and look ahead to the game, a bit of housekeeping first. I'm not going to be involved in any of the full-time content after the next two games. That's tomorrow against Aberdeen and then Trophy Day at the weekend as well. Unfortunately, I'm getting ready to fly out to Canada for my mate's wedding this weekend, so I'm going to miss the last two league games of the season and the trophy presentation on Saturday, which I'm absolutely gutted about because it also brings to an end a very long run of consecutive games for me. So like I say, I'm absolutely gutted, but the main thing is I will be back for the Scottish Cup final next weekend, so I suppose I can't complain too much. So you'll see a combination of the boys standing in for me both tomorrow and at the weekend, which will be nice. It will change it up a bit from you guys being used to me presenting. So hopefully you enjoy that. Now we go to Pittodrie tomorrow for what will be billed as a dress rehearsal for that Scottish Cup final next weekend. I'm not sure it is that. I'm not sure it will turn out to be that because Brendan Rodgers seems to have alluded to already. He might make a couple of changes to the team, certainly in the aftermath of that 3-1 win over Hibs at the weekend, where I thought we played really, really well. I thought it was a brilliant performance on the day. I thought there was a proper intensity about us, a really good tempo to how we started the game, and we kept that up really for the majority of it. I think the big factor in these games where the title's already wrapped up and it's in the bag and you're just sort of waiting on trophy day and you've got the cup final on the horizon, the expectation can sometimes be that the players maybe have one eye on the cup final and they take their foot off the gas and there's not that edge or that intensity to how they play. But that certainly wasn't the case on Saturday. I thought it was a really, really good performance against a Hibs team who do have a lot to play for and are trying to get points to secure that third position. So I thought it was a really good day all round. I think if you look at Brendan Rodgers' comments after the game at the weekend as well, he talked a lot about building on the success. Celtic is about building on the success that has gone by. It's not about resting on it, and he wants the team to gear up towards that cup final. And I think the performance at the weekend was a really, really good example of that. He picked a strong team. A couple of surprises in there, particularly Kasper coming back in, which we'll come back to when we talk about the team in a minute. But he did also say after the game that he's already told the team after the game on Saturday who will play on Wednesday, and it was in response to a question about will you be wanting not to show Aberdeen your hand in terms of the build up to the cup final. I certainly don't think it's as deep as that. That was how the question was framed in the post match press conference. Like, will it be a case of not showing your hand? I don't think it's really that deep. But he said that he wants to get minutes in as many of the players' legs so that everybody is in top condition going into that cup final. Now, previous meetings against Aberdeen this season, we obviously did 2-2 draw in that first game against them at Celtic Park. We blew them away at Hampden in the League Cup semi-final 6-0. We had a very narrow 1-0 win up there at Pittodrie in December as well, and horrible swirling rain and wind, terrible conditions that night, but a brilliant Hatate strike won it late on for us. And Aberdeen really capitulated after that for a period of time. And then we had the 5-1 win over them at home a couple of months ago as well. I seen the highlights from their game at the weekend. I thought the way they defended in the second half was so poor. I think if they defend like that tomorrow and in the cup final, we've got a right good chance because I think some of the defending in their 4-0 defeat at Ibrox left a lot to be desired. So let's hope that they defend something like that tomorrow and we can get ourselves a good victory and then build towards that cup final full of confidence. Now, let's turn our attention to the team. I've mentioned already, Brendan Rodgers has said he's told the players who will play on Saturday. So it's going to be interesting to see just how many changes he does make. I certainly don't think this will be the 11 that plays in the cup final. There will be some changes. I've gone for 4 changes from the team that faced Hibs at the weekend. And like I say, there was 1 or 2 surprises in there. And the first one came in goals with Kasper Schmeichel coming straight back in. First time he's been back in the squad and he was straight back in to start the game. I think that's a wee bit sooner than first feared when he got injured. And I think because Sinisalo had done so well, I probably think we weren't expecting to see Kasper back in until maybe Trophy Day and then the Cup final. I've seen a few people saying they'd like to just saw Sinisalo keep his place, but wasn't to be. Kasper came in, he's been brilliant for us all season. You can't deny Kasper's place in the team. Yes, the injury has given Sinisalo the chance to impress, and Brendan Rodgers did say that Vil would play the game at Pittodrie tomorrow, so he'll come back in. Just a case of Kasper getting some minutes and getting the feel of playing again after being out for 5 or 6 weeks, making sure his shoulder responds fine. And then, like I say, I'd probably expect him to come back in, certainly for the cup final and possibly for Trophy Day at the weekend as well. He also said Alistair Johnston would be back in the squad. I'm going to put him back in for this one. Ralston started the last couple of games. Again, you don't know if it's going to be too early for Johnston to start. And again, there might be an element of protecting him in the build up to that cup final. But I've just gone with putting him back in because I think with Kasper and with Kuhn further up the pitch, they've both been out with injuries and came straight back into the teams when they've been available. So I'm going to go with that with Johnston. Trusty and Scales, I think, will be the centre half pairing after the weekend. I think they did okay at the weekend, both of them. Trusty, obviously, poor clearance that leads to the Hibs goal. I think other than that, he had a couple of good interventions. I thought Scales defended well on the day too. Taylor at left back, I think he will keep his place. Maybe a shout that Jeffrey Schlupp could come in. That is one I considered. Schlupp's really just dropped off in terms of his minutes. Probably ever since that 3-2 defeat to Rangers at Celtic Park. And Greg Taylor's been playing well since he's come in. Maybe but for that game at Ibrox, I can already hear people commenting. But I think that'll be the back four. In midfield, I expect McGregor to play. Again, he's played so many minutes. He's so important for us. And if the manager does want to make some changes and rest some players, you could definitely make a case for Callum to come out. But I just think with how strong he went at the weekend, I don't think he's going to make 6-7 changes and change the majority of the outfield team for this game. I think there will be continuity kept, and maybe like the weekend, McGregor will come off mid to late second half, and we've got options on the bench there to replace him and sort of lower the minutes in his legs. In front of him, I'm going to go for a change. I'm going for Paulo, Bernardo and Engels. Now, this was a difficult one because I do expect a change to be made in midfield. It's nearly impossible to make the case to bring Hatate out because he's been playing so well. He's been brilliant. Hatate was man of the match. Clearly man of the match, hands down at the weekend. Just a brilliant range of passing. He's playing with a lot of confidence. He scores a brilliant goal on the day as well. He's finding a wee bit of consistency these last 3 or 4 weeks. He's been excellent, Rio Hatate. But when I was thinking about it, the only looking into Brendan Rodgers' comments recently, it's only been the alluding to Hatate having the 3 games a week and struggling to nail down that consistency. So I just think he might come out. Bernardo might come in. The other factor is that we haven't seen Hatate and Bernardo play together all too often this season. So I've just went for Rio to come out. Again, it wouldn't surprise me because how well he's been playing if we just keep him in there. And Engels as well. You could also toss a coin. It could be him that comes out. Could we see McCowan come in as well? I think the manager's got enough options in central midfield, but I've just gone for Bernardo. It wouldn't surprise me to see Hatate keep his place given how well he's done. Bernardo, the big question is, I don't think we really know why he hasn't played so much since he returned from injury. I don't think he's had a start since he returned from injury. He's looked sharp off the bench a couple of times, but hasn't really been able to get any meaningful minutes. So it might be nice. It might be a good opportunity for Brendan Rodgers, like he said, to get minutes in players' legs. And I think Bernardo is one who needs minutes in his legs in the build-up to this Scottish Cup final. Front three, Kuhn came back in with his black eye and 5 stitches. He played really well. I think particularly first half, Nicholas Kuhn gets on the end of that ball for Ralston, round the keeper to make it 1-1, and then a couple of minutes later he plays a lovely dink pass for Idah to put us ahead. I think the question mark is how fit is he? Obviously that bruising in his knee in the derby at Ibrox that he didn't take part in. Then he had this eye injury. So again, I think partly because he's limited on options out wide, Brendan Rodgers, and the pursuit of James Forrest's record. I think Kuhn might be one that's rested, can start this game on the bench. Forrest can play on the right hand side. I thought he'd do that at the weekend, but he didn't. I just didn't expect Nicholas Kuhn to come straight back in, given the knee injury, given the 5 stitches in his eye. So I think the more starts Jamesy can get this week in terms of Aberdeen and St Mirren, the higher a chance there is scoring a goal to get this record. And I think again he probably wants to share the minutes with the wide players that are available. Brendan Rodgers, Jota's obviously out, Yang is back available, but I don't see him starting the game. I think it'll be Jamesy on the right hand side, Daizen on the left, and Idah through the middle. Again, limited up front. You could maybe bring Idah out and put Daizen through the middle. Bring Yang in. Maybe Yang could play from the left hand side. I know Forrest can also play from the left hand side, but it's not his best position by any means. I also think Yang is more suited to the right hand side as well. That's where he's played most often this season, rather than the left. So I just think he's a bit limited, Brendan Rodgers, in terms of his options with Daizen and Idah. So Idah again. Story of the last couple of games, really. He gets a goal, a lovely finish, but he's had one or two other good chances that you'd expect him to do better with. I think the one where he goes through and the goalkeeper opens his body up and tries to guide it with the inside of his right foot into the far corner. It's kind of straight down the throat of the Hibs goalkeeper. That was flagged offside, and he was 2 or 3 yards onside actually. So if he'd put that in the net, it would have counted. VAR would have corrected it. So I think there's just that element with Idah where he gets chances, and that's a good thing for a striker. You don't want games to be going by where you're never in the position to get chances. He is getting chances. I think we just maybe like a bit more ruthlessness, a bit more consistency with his finishing. But again, another goal for him. I think that's him up to 19 now. With 2 league games in the cup final left, you'd back him to get 20. And that's a decent return. All things considered, we know he's not had the best season. He's not set the place on fire, but 20 of goals is a decent return for a striker who again hasn't started through the middle every single game. I think you get back to last season, Kyogo didn't get too many more than that, so that just shows you that in terms of goal return, it is there for Idah, but again we do want more from his all-round play, and maybe a bit more ruthless when those chances come along for him. Daizen's looked tired in the last couple of games, but I say he looked tired midway through the second half on Saturday, and then by the end of the game, he's charging down people on the other side of the pitch, and he's setting the counter press for the whole team. So he's never really that tired, is he, Daizen? Just maybe come off it a wee bit in terms of the goal return the last couple of games, but again, you'd back him to add to that 35, 36 that he's already got. So there you go. That's the team I think Brendan Rodgers will go with tomorrow. I think I'm definitely getting it wrong. I've went with 4 changes. You can let me know how many changes you think there'll be in the comments below. Please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. We're very, very close to 45,000 subscribers. So it'll be a nice wee milestone if we get there before Trophy Day at the weekend. And like I say, I won't see you on the full-time content tomorrow, but the boys will wherever you're watching the game. Enjoy it, and I'll see you very soon. Cheers.